Everyone, welcome back to Key's PWI Survival Guide. My name is Kiana and it's a brand new month, so we have a brand new topic to be focusing on. So let's get right into it. Happy Women's History Month, and let's get right into Social Month. I know I've been away, I had spring break, and it was a really restful spring break. I graduate in exactly 68 days. Yes, I have a countdown, and I'm so excited. But let's go ahead and start talking about all the orgs and clubs and organizations that are here on campus that can help students of color transition into college and find a community that they might enjoy. And so I want to preface, which I use my special word preface, let's do a counter of how many times I say that, but I want to preface that I'm not going to be able to highlight all of Longwood's organizations. Longwood has about, we have more than 175 organizations, so that's a lot of organizations to cover. So some of the ones that I'm focusing on are organizations and clubs that I see students of color gravitate to. I see the most community-based building out of, but I think that it's really important to note that students of color can make a home or a space that exists authentically in any organization. And I think if we go back to what Jonathan and I discussed at the end of February, is advocating for the self. And so if you're going to create a community for yourself, it's necessary to recognize the things that you want out of your college experience. So maybe the organizations I highlight today might not be for you, but that doesn't mean that there aren't spaces for you on campus. And that doesn't mean you can't break into these new areas just because you don't see faces or skin tones that look like you. And it's important to remember that a student organization is just that, student run, student led. And so all of these organizations have the opportunity for students to rise to president, vice president, treasurer, secretary, historian, public relations, all these types of, low stakes, what am I trying to say? Low stakes positions of power. And by inserting yourself into these leadership roles, you learn so much about yourself, about your community, about your campus. And I think it's very important to remember that for students of color, I think it's kind of hard for us to remember that asking for help is okay. And I think learning leadership also comes with learning to ask for help, because you might be the president, but you might need your vice president to do something for you. You might need to contact your advisor for your club or organization, and you might need to take some steps to find out how to make a budget, find out how to do more outreach. Those are the kinds of questions that students in leadership ask. But again, I'm highlighting these particular organizations and clubs because I think amongst themselves, they make up their own community. But I see that within these organizations, a lot of the students that are a part of these orgs also kind of dip into the same clubs that, kind of run in the same circles. And that's wonderful, because once you start to have a familiar face, familiar faces create relationships and a little bit more comfortable environment to move in and out of different areas. And for me, and going back to the conversation I had with Jonathan, is that confidence is everything. And once you take the leap of faith to try to build that confidence in a space that might not reflect who you are or look like you, it goes a long way. And I guess out of our 175 clubs, there's a lot of different things. But that doesn't mean once a student comes to Longwood that they can't start their own club. And so clubs and organizations need 8 starting members, as well as a academic advisor. So someone on campus, whether it be faculty or staff, that can support your group. And you would work with our university center that deals with a lot of our organizations and clubs, and hopefully your ideal will come to fruition. And that's one of the things I really do appreciate about Longwood, is that it is always a space or a place to make a space. Because place and space, we use them interchangeably, but they're not always the same. So yes, I attend a place, but do I have a space where I can exist and I can just be? And that's what hopefully clubs and organizations should present to students. So let's get right into all of the organizations I'm going to highlight today. Figure out where I'm going to sit, because I want to put some little pictures or screenshots of all of these organizations, social media and things like that, so students can go ahead and take a look at some of the wonderful things that Longwood offers. But so the first, I'm going to do them in alphabetical order because that's so much easier for me. The first organization I'm going to highlight is AFROH. And AFROH stands for All for Respecting Our Hair, and it was started in 2018. And it's focused on growing people's not only respect but their care for their hair, because hair care and our self-esteem kind of go together. They do things like fashion shows, and they have nights where they make their own hair care products and share products, as well as talking about their hair care journeys. I am so blessed to actually know the current AFROH president, Destiny. And if you're going to talk about hair, that's the girl for you. But I think AFROH really offers something unique to our campus, and it was, again, started in 2018, so my freshman year. And I actually didn't get to know the starting president, vice president, treasurer, and historian at the time, but I'll put some pictures of them right here so you guys can go ahead and see what AFROH is all about. I think AFROH is something that all Black and brown people can benefit from, because of the fact that, again, our hair is so much to us. It means so much. There's power in the way that we present ourselves, and I think it offers something to campus that's very unique. So the next organization will be ASIA, which is our Asian Students Involvement Association. And ASIA does so many things on campus, and one of the things that I think really meant something to me that I attended that ASIA put on was the candlelight visual last semester after the victims of the shooting down in Atlanta at the spas. ASIA came out and they discussed how it made their students that are a part of their community feel. We talked about how to move forward, but also ASIA addressed some of the attacks in the Stop Asian Hate or not necessarily an organization, but the movement since the coronavirus. And I think that sometimes we don't necessarily realize other people's struggles until they're presented to us. And it was a very eye-opening experience for me personally, because I think all minorities experience something devastating or tragic in just our existence, especially in this country. But we don't always know how other people feel because we're so wrapped up in our own tragedies and our own communities' sadness. So I thought that for me personally, I was able to connect with ASIA on a really special grounding, that we're very much all in this same movement towards a better world, even when it offers us tragedy. But ASIA offers us so much more, and they allow us to see East Asian, South Asian, cultures. I just attended a couple of weeks ago the lantern lighting for Lunar New Year, and it was so cute and so intimate. We actually had it in Sustac, and one of the other organizations that I'm actually a part of was there to help set up, and I'll put some pictures right here, this side, this is inverted, on this side, So you all can see some of those things. But Asia, they do food nights, so there's dumplings and all types of good foods and things like that. So that is our Asian Students Involvement Association. We're gonna keep going in alphabetical order. Next is our Basic Gospel Choir. So Basic stands for Brothers and Sisters in Christ, and Basic, they be going all over Virginia doing their tournaments or their singing competitions, and I didn't know that. I had the opportunity to make a budget for one of my organizations, and you can see what all the other student organizations ask for, and basically getting some money, okay? But beyond that, spirituality is such an important thing in the Black and Brown communities. And I think that to offer a space for students to not only explore music, because music is, I mean, we could spend a whole video talking about music and we couldn't even touch the surface of what music means to us. But I think that to be able to explore spirituality, brotherhood and sisterhood through music is such a beautiful thing. And let me tell you, Basic can sing. So if I can find the clip of this side, yes. If I can find a clip of Basic singing, I will put it maybe after this, so you all can hear their blessing. Period. So the next organization we're going to talk about is the Black Students Association. So I'm a part of B.A.S.I.C. It is something that I think I've struggled with a little bit about my own Blackness, because you feel if you're not a part of your predominant group in the beginning, for me at least, I felt like I was intruding joining B.A.S.I.C. again. But B.A.S.I.C. is such an important space for Black students. But again, all of these organizations, if you go on our Lansing link and you read these B.A.S.I.C. and Asia and HLA, which I'll discuss later, they are open to all students. So it's not just for the Black community, it's not just for the Asian community, it's not just for the Hispanic, Latino, or Latinx community. So, but these spaces create a community for us, and we can talk about things that it's not always broadcasted on campus or broadcasted on the news, and we can really flush out how we feel. And B.A.S.I.C. does all kinds of cool things. I know actually coming up this week is a collaboration with The Wood, which is another organization on campus that does a lot of creative work. We're doing some open mic nights. We are also doing aux chord wars, which I haven't attended, but I've heard it was really fun. I think it's you take a category of music, and the first person to find a song in their Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, whatever, and throw it up on the screen. Their team gets the point. And we're also doing a women's tabling in our Upchurch University Center. And so for Black History Month, exec members of B.A.S.I.C. Stood at a tabling event, and they asked students passing by who their inspiration was or their favorite Black history person was. So this month it'll be similar, but for Women's History Month. So that's going to be very exciting, and I'll put some pictures of B.A.S.I.C. right here, and I'm saying this so I can remind myself in the editing process. But B.A.S.I.C. kind of houses a lot of different things, and I've seen it change a lot over my 4 years. I remember attending B.A.S.I.C. when I was a freshman, and I think that for me personally, the B.A.S.I.C. that I'm a part of now as a senior I think it just fits me better. And I think that changes with who's a part of the university at the time. So that's B.A.S.I. Continuing on in our alphabetical order discussion of organizations and clubs is F.I.E.R.C.E Hip Hop Dance Team. So F.I.E.R.C.E is, it stands for Flawless, Intense, Energetic, Radiant, Crunk, and Exposed. And that's on period. I love a performance organization, personally. I wish I had have had the confidence a little bit more to go out and audition for F.I.E.R.C.E or another performance organization I'll be talking about in a little bit. But I love seeing these ladies perform. I love the energy that they bring. And every time I see them, especially at like Oktoberfest or Spring Weekend, they're at their tables in their little outfits and they're either doing a chant or they're dancing, and it's an open organization for all students. Again, so it's not just black and brown students joining F.I.E.R.C.E. It's not just black and brown students joining any of these organizations, but it's a place to experience something that you love. And dancing is, I think all, all black and brown people know, all of our BIPOC students, enjoy dancing. I think. My mama can't dance, so there are some of us that just don't like dancing. But it is a place to enjoy, and connect with your body. And connecting with yourself is such an important thing. So the next club or organization that we're going to focus on, is Global Leaders. And I'm actually a part of Global Leaders as well. Global Leaders is a closed organization, but my best friend Denisha Mason is the president, and I think she's working on trying to have it to be a more open organization. And what I mean by closed is that it's application based. So students fill out an application discussing their love for culture, their love for helping students that might be a part of our international organizations or our international students. And Global Leaders works very closely with the Center of Global Engagement. And we do all kinds of things on campus. We do tablings and discuss different cultures throughout the world. We also do things like Global Lancers Week, which I had to get my trusty dusty agenda because I didn't remember when it was. But we do Global Lancer Week, which is the 4th through the 8th of April. And we're going to do things like Arabian Nights, which is a collaboration between Global Leaders and the Longwood Company of Belly Dance. And we discuss Middle Eastern culture. There was baklava my freshman or sophomore year, and it was very good. But it's also a place to really help out with our international students because there's a mentorship program through Global Leaders. And I was the global leader of the half month last, was it before? Yeah, it was last semester. And that was really special because I do kind of attend everything, but I love Global Leaders, and it's something I'm really proud of, and I'm proud of myself that I joined. So Global Leaders, join Global Leaders. But yeah, on to our next one. Okay, so our next organization is Good Eats. Now, Good Eats is it's a newer organization that is actually on my friend and I's list of attending, just to see what it's like. And a girl likes to eat, so that's definitely one of my organizations I'll be choosing to go to. But Good Eats was put together in 2020, and so that was definitely COVID semester. But it's so nice to see an organization that discusses food and the importance of food, but also how good food can be. But one of the things I wanted to mention, especially under Good Eats, is that I got a response back to my trusty Google form and it discussed how a student felt that they don't feel connected to the campus because there aren't dietary options based on their cultural background. And I really sat back and thought about that because kind of in my own, and I guess I would call that privilege. In my own privilege, I don't have to think about those kind of cultural dietary needs. And I wish that we could take that kind of issue to someone so that students coming in or students now that feel that way can have their needs met. And so Good Eats, I think, is a place for students that feel that they can't find the foods that suit their needs. Go to that meeting, discuss what food means to you culturally, emotionally, physically, um, and also create community. So our next organization is going to be Imprint Praise Team. So I was a praise dancer for a little while when I was younger, and praise dancing again is something that connects spirituality, but also it connects something you love to do. It's fitness, it's love for your own spiritual background, and Imprint, as well as a couple of other organizations, will be at Move and Groove on March the 24th. So all these organizations will be able to have a few minutes that the students that attend can actually interact with different styles of dance. And I'm super excited about it. I'll be attending with another organization I'm a part of. And I think that it's so interesting to have something like a praise dance team on a campus that, I mean, like Longwood, because I think spirituality and faith are a big part of our campus. There are a lot of different groups on campus that do Bible study. They get together and meet, those types of things. But praise dancing is such a specific, I think, activity for, especially for the Black community. So I just love that it's been introduced to our campus, and students are able to have that connection even away from home, even if they're a part of a praise dancing team at home or through their church. So yeah, so that's Imprint. I'll put some pictures, and I'll also put the poster for Move and Groove. So just to kind of get a glimpse of some of the things that we do on campus. So it's a good thing I brought up Move and Groove because our next organization is HLA, which are Hispanic and Latino Association. So students of Hispanic and Latinx heritage, this is their space. But again, students of all backgrounds are welcome to attend. But HLA is actually the organization that has put Move and Groove together twice. And they do some really interesting things. And so let me discuss some of them. One of the things I'm really excited for is the Night Under the Stars Gala. So in April, the Hispanic and Latino Association will be putting together a gala for students to just come and enjoy, dance, and a couple of organizations are involved. And students or student groups will be kind of in charge of doing different things. So cleanup, breakdown, set up, things like that. And I think HLA does a really, really good job of outreach, of asking different student groups to be a part of different things. And so Move and Groove, which is in March, the Night Under the Stars Gala, they play different types of games. And I just love, hold on. One of the things that HLA also does, of course, is Dia de los Muertos during October. And they do a lot of crafts, different things like that. And so I'm really looking forward to Move and Groove. I'm really, really looking forward to the Night Under the Stars Gala. And so let's keep going. So my next conglomerate organization club, it's more of an organization because it is an umbrella for our Divine Nine sororities and fraternities here on campus, which is NPHC. NPHC is our National Panhellenic Council. And here on Longwood's campus, we have 6 of our Divine Nines. And so I'm going to kind of run through them a little quickly to make sure that I touch on which sororities and fraternities we do have, what their chapter name is, and this kind of like the history of each one. So when they were chartered here on campus, and let's get into it. So I have some notes here. I'm going to kind of read them off because I want to make sure that I get everything correct. So let's start out with our Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. They are the Lambda Delta chapter, and they were chartered on Longwood's campus on February the 19th, 1977. As well as we have the Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. My uncle is an Alpha, so I always get really excited when I see Alphas. They are the Chi Zeta chapter, and they are actually shared between Longwood and Hampden-Sydney, which is like 5 minutes away from us. We have Zeta Phi Beta, which is the Phi Omicron, Omicron chapter. And it was chartered April 14th, 1994. We also have Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, the Omicron Rho chapter, chartered October the 10th, 1984. And we also have the Delta Sigma Theta, which if you all remember the wonderful Dr. Brown Meredith, she is a part of Delta Sigma Theta. And their chapter is Pi Mu, and it was chartered April the 28th, 1987. And finally, we have Sigma Gamma Rho. Their chapter is the Omicron chapter, and it was chartered on March the 20th, 1999. And so, again, we just have 6 of the Divine Nine, but they are very active on campus. They all have their own philanthropy, and I think now as a senior, I really wish I had been a little bit more active and maybe looking for that kind of sisterhood. But it is absolutely open to students to be interested in those things. The first woman of color of our SGA, or our Student Government Associations Council. If you've seen the YouTube Longwood commercials, Haley, she was an AKA here on campus, and I know the chapters of all of the fraternities and sororities are very proud of their graduates. So that's just something to think about when you come to campus too, to really get that type of sisterhood or brotherhood that you're really looking for, but also to learn skills like discretion or all those types of good things that come with joining a Divine Nine or an NPHC fraternity or sorority. So I hope I didn't butcher that too much. Greek life isn't necessarily something that's always in my scope. So any of my NPHC friends, please read me to filth in the comments or correct anything that needs to be corrected. So let's keep going. We only have a few more. Our next organization is Pride, and I have a little announcement to kind of discuss with Pride, but Longwood Pride works with, they work to promote advocacy, diversity, as well as acceptance and awareness for students that identify as LGBTQ+. And I think Pride is so necessary because I think a lot of people make jokes about like gay straight alliance in school, especially like in high school, and I don't think students that don't identify in the LGBTQ+ community recognize what a special place Pride can become in their like adult life. And so Longwood Pride also kind of does some events along with Farmville Pride. And so students along with community members get together and they do all types of things. I know Pride does a lot of tabling. They'll come out and they'll have stickers, and they're just try to make an accepting space for students. And I really think that that's what all of our organizations try to do. And Pride specifically, again, working along with Dr. Brown Meredith, as well as Max. Max, I don't know how to say your last name. But they are putting together a queer students of color support group. And the population of queer students on campus is small. However, small does not mean that queer students of color don't deserve support. That doesn't mean that they don't deserve having the tools to work through something that might be difficult to discuss at home or difficult to discuss with their peers because they might face violence or displacement or to be ostracized from those that they love because of who they love. So I was given the opportunity to be kind of a part of advertising and getting the word out about the Queer Students of Color support group. And I'm so excited about it because I think Pride does a wonderful job of advocacy, but it also is very important to make spaces for Black and brown students that experience that something that might be different for their particular, I think, part of the LGBTQ community, if that makes sense. I will post some like posters, those types of things, when I have a little bit more kind of concrete stuff about it, about the Queer Students of Color support group. And I will definitely mention it every video for this month, and probably in April as well, because we want to get it off the ground. We want to make sure that students feel supported and they have a place to go. So that's Pride, as well as our Queer Students of Color support group. And last but certainly not least is True Blue's Stomp and Shake. If you have been to any of Longwood's basketball games, especially in this semester, True Blue has been out on the basketball court performing, shaking it up, changing the game. And first of all, I love their uniforms. Their uniforms are so cute. But again, it's another performance organization that really brings a little je ne sais quoi to our campus, because Step is everything. And I think that's another organization that I really wish I had more confidence to audition for, because I love Step. I think Step is unique, to say the least, but it really connects us to something so much deeper than just dance, because Step comes from a really spiritual place for me, I think. And True Blue, they love what they do, and they give it their all every time they're asked to perform somewhere. And I just think that for all of our performance organizations especially, they all kind of bring something specialized to campus that really touches people or scratches the itch for some students that really need an outlet. And I think True Blue does it all for me, really. So again, I'll put some pictures of True Blue, as well as all of the organizations' social medias in the description. But that is the last of the clubs and organizations that I will be highlighting in this video. I don't know how many that even was, but again, this is not all of the organizations that Longwood has to offer. Longwood has the place for students to grow. But again, what Jonathan talked about is advocating for the self, and advocating for the self then means advocating for the community. And I think that kind of talking about grit again. We have grit, but then it comes to our cultural connections and our cultural knowledge of other people. We don't know how to go about creating those connections. And clubs and organizations are the perfect places to do that. So we have to, when new students come on campus, if there's something that you don't see that you know would make your time here bearable or better, then go for it. Because your idea might encompass so many other students that you all find each other, and from that one organizational meeting you've got a family. And it might not be the family that you can tell all your business to. It might not always be the family that you've imagined for yourself, but it's a family that could stick with you for a very long time and you make change with on campus. So that's all I have for this episode. I'm really looking forward to what I'm kind of trying to put together for next episode. I'm going to call it the Blue and White Table Talk. Jada Pinkett Smith, please don't sue me. But I'm going to try to get some students of color on campus to come sit down with me and talk about some of the topics I have, talk about the topics that they care about, and really flush out frustrations, but also create a dialogue that will be useful to move forward with in the future. So thank you all for watching. This has been Key's PWI Survival Guide. See you later.